Hi, welcome to the Oliver Fetter YouTube channel. Today I'm taking a closer look at the 1.9 liter VW ALH turbo direct injection TDI. I don't know, I just said so many things. Looking at this 1.9 liter I bought recently, when I bought it, I pretty much just kind of walked in and gave it a once over and listened to homie seller's story about it and called it a day. Essentially, the story is about a 200,000 mile motor, got rebuilt about 80,000 miles ago, and besides that, it pretty much looks like this. So today, I have my valve cover loose for the first time, and supposedly this engine, according to the seller, well, 2 sellers ago, the guy who sold me this bought it in the car still, and according to the owner of the car, this motor's good to go. Shouldn't need anything, shouldn't need to be taken apart, anything like that. That said, I am about to strap up a GT 2260 turbo, which is way bigger than that, with way better flowing manifolds and an MTDI pump. And with all those things, we're gonna make immediately way more torque than this engine was ever supposed to. So according to people on the internet, things you need right off the cuff are beefier rods, period, which I believe. I mean, I bent all the rods in my 1.6 and the 1.9 is its later brother. Today, taking a look at general engine condition, taking off some unneeded shit. There's a lot of accessories over here that I'm never gonna use, like power steering, alternator, etc. And yeah, it's just kind of a checking this engine out today. Here we go. As previously mentioned, this engine did not come with injectors, which is a bit of an L. So far from initial research, it sounds like 764s, whatever that means, or PP 764s, meaning I think the nozzle type for the normal injectors is a pretty nice upgrade. And I do want to probably upgrade from stock. I feel like the build goal for this engine is about 200 horsepower. My initial thoughts, and please let me know if you have better beta than this, is to run my 11 millimeter pump, which eventually I'll probably upgrade to 12 millimeters. So replace this with my mechanical, upgrade my rods to max speeding rods, H-beams, and then run some PP 764s. And then I'm gonna line it up with just an 020 transmission and all my 020 flywheel, pressure plate, etc. Some of that might be less than ideal. I've heard 020As are stronger, better, blah, blah, blah. But for now, I don't have the money or time to go running after a transmission swap as well, so we're just gonna stick to the 020. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and take off these accessories. I already removed the vacuum wet reservoir, which is gross looking. This is gonna get deleted eventually. This is the vacuum pump, and I'm gonna replace it with just a block off plate. And then today I'm hoping to start forming an idea about how the coolant system works on this engine. This block heater I would like to keep but hide somewhere. And then I do want to put heat back in the car. The car has no heat or heater core. So some of this I may want to use, though it looks like there's like 4 too many hose connections currently. Off we go. So I already pulled the valve cover bolts. You can see it was put on here with some nice gray RTV, like probably not that long ago. It's pretty clean looking. So without further ado, this is the first time I've ever looked inside the engine. I just bought... Oh my goodness. Wow. Honestly, it looks great. I took the seller's word for it pretty much, which honestly is kind of how I roll. You don't really get too far by like poking a shitload of questions at somebody. They usually don't have much more to tell you. But he said it looked good and it ran nice, and I mean, I kind of believe it. I mean, this cam practically looks like new. There, take a look at that. That looks really nice. I'm stoked. Without having ever laid eyes on it, I was like 50% expecting to pull this off and see like surface rust on everything. But it seems like so far the story is holding up for sure. Looks really nice and clean in here. Hell yeah. Okay, a little bit of this, not too much, just some. Next order of business. Probably what I should have done when I fucking picked this thing up is to make sure it's not seized. Kind of going out of order here, but holy shit, look at that. That's great. That feels like an engine that's gonna want to start. Oh, that's X. What is that? Oh, and we have good compression. There's paper towels in the injector holes right now. that the seller jammed in there, and we just shot one of those out. That's excellent. Thoughts or comments on the timing cover, everybody? Do you personally like to run the timing cover? Do you not? If so, why? I've never actually used a timing cover before on my car because it never had one. Seems like might be a good thing to put on. Keeps your timing belt safe, assuming you're not dismantling the engine all the time. Goal this time around is to tear this down eventually, put the better internals in it, put it back together with some head studs, and then hopefully put a timing belt on it and not take it apart for a very long time. My days of like blowing it up and taking it apart and cleaning pieces are hopefully coming to a close, mostly because I'm super tired of it. Oh, tits. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh well. I was trying to take the timing belt off, but I wasn't trying to take crankshaft sprocket off first. But sometimes it's what you do instead. All right, well, timing belt can come off now. Timing belt uninstallation with the bottom cover. Whoops. You know, but that's kind of how I go on these things, is like it's a lot of trial and error. And sometimes you end up being kind of an idiot. So I looked at how to mount up this side of the engine. Looks like pretty much you use these 3 bolt holes and adapt it to a Mark 1, which is pretty sweet. That was made by S&P for like $140-ish. I might try to make my own because really all you gotta do is make a triangular bracket out of 1/4-inch steel and weld the Mark 1 engine mount right here. So might do it myself. Might go ahead and buy theirs. All right, that was pretty easy. Wow, it turns out it's not terribly easy to do that by hand. Ow. Ooh. All right, I don't know what I was being so daft about. There it is. Still do want to pull this off eventually, but you know, probably not right now. It can just stay right there. All right, well, might as well pull this while we're at it. All right, you just need bigger pry bar. Totally doable. Now I kind of feel like if the alternator is the only thing I'm using and it mounts, you know, right here, then I could just take an angle grinder to the rest to make it look nice. Back to what I was doing, taking this dang bracket off. All right, well, when you remove that, it really almost does look like a 1/6. Love paper towels, it's always a nice touch. Jam paper towels everywhere, that'll make it better. All right, well, this is about as far as I'm getting today, it looks like. I plan to pull the rest of this timing cover off and this cam gear off as soon as I can figure out how. Pretty soon, gonna take the oil pan and head off the engine and get this side of it mounted up to an engine stand probably before I do that. So maybe next teardown video will be taking the head off and pulling the pistons out of it. Then we'll really know what we're working with in terms of condition inside there. For now, I mean, the initial look in the valve cover looks good. It's not seized, which is good. For buying a kind of a random engine off a random person, so far it seems like we're looking pretty good. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any tips for me about the 1.9 liter here and me getting acquainted to it, please let me know. Seems like there's plenty to learn. A couple question marks left, like coolant system. If anybody has pared down the cooling system, do you plug this? Do you cut it off altogether and just run a hose? Do you run this? Do you have to get a different hose to your radiator? I don't know. Many questions. Appreciate you. Have a good day out there.